everyone, and welcome to the Reddit Railway. My name is Victor, and I'll be your driver. Today, I have a collection of customer-submitted stories to share, so all aboard! When I was back in summer school, I had it perfectly fine, but on the second day, he came in. His name was Brody, and he was an a-hole. I hated him so much. I wanted him to leave. He showed his sausage out in class and was moved to my class. Me and my friends, Erwin, Abel, and Alex, just played and chatted with each other. Abel stopped coming for a few days, and I stayed with Erwin and Alex. Slowly and steadily, Brody started to annoy me. He pretended to write, "If Brody sees this, he's gay," on my leg, and he sent me to the office. I told the principal that I didn't do it, and she didn't believe me. I asked her if I could get a witness. Alex was out sick, but Erwin was able to come and back me up. Brody was sent to the office and suspended. I was glad. I enjoyed the break and chatted with my other friends. When he came back, he started fighting me. I kept running away. One time, he knocked me onto my right arm, breaking it. I had to go to the hospital. This time, Brody was expelled. Things were better with him gone. My summer school teacher said things could go back to normal. He handed out candy on the last day of school. Even though Brody mostly ruined it, I had a good time. Brody sounds disturbed. I'll bet he's the type of guy who'll end up in juvie after robbing a liquor store before he's 16. At least he was given the flick, and it sounds like you were able to enjoy yourself somewhat, OP, so it wasn't all that bad. I was on Instagram one night when I received a message from someone. The person who messaged me was a freshman at my school and had over 1,000 followers, myself included. I didn't know them that well, if at all, as their profile didn't contain their name. I was caught off guard at first when I received their message, but I figured they were just bored and or were looking for a new friend, so I decided to go along with it. The conversation started out normal at first, the usual "how are you doing, what are you up to," that sort of stuff. But then this person asked me to help them with something. I asked what. The person explained that they got a new phone recently, but that Instagram kept asking for a help link in order to log in, and they needed my help in order to receive it. I offered my assistance, as that's the sort of person I am, and asked what needed to be done. They then proceeded to ask for my phone number, which immediately set off alarm bells. I told them I wasn't comfortable with sending them my number and suggested they ask one of their friends instead. They responded by saying that's why they asked me, which only made me more suspicious. I replied saying that I didn't even know them. They said, "It's me," and then suggested I give them my email address instead. I was not on board with this. I told the person this, as well as the fact they still didn't tell me who they were. They counteracted by asking if I was going to help them or not. I brought up the fact they had over 1,000 followers and asked me of all people. They then asked if that was a yes or a no. I said no due to the suspicious circumstances, and once again suggested they get the help of their friends. They thanked me and left me alone. Now here's where things get way, and I mean way more interesting. I then went back to scrolling through Instagram and saw the newest post from one of my friends, whose account was actually hacked earlier that day, I might add. On the post was a screenshot of that person who just messaged me having a conversation with another person asking them for help with the same issue. The post also contained a warning that the person sending those messages was a hacker and to not click on any links they send. It seems somebody was successfully hacked by them. I was gobsmacked by this revelation and relieved that I listened to my gut and didn't send that person anything. I then wasted no time posting a warning to all my friends about this person and telling them to spread the word. I unfollowed, reported, and blocked the hacker as well. Our efforts paid off as the hacker's account was removed by Instagram a couple of hours later. Yikes! When OP sent me this story, they titled it as "I dodged a major bullet on Instagram." I have to agree with that, but you handled it brilliantly. You didn't give this person anything because you didn't know them. That's very sensible. OP also sent through screenshots of the conversation they had. I'll put them up here. Pause the video if you want to read them. It's safe to say this whole situation was very, very shifty. I was 15 and had been openly bisexual since earlier in 2018. At this point, it was no secret, and though I might have faced other challenges at school, I had not thought I would get any trouble from a previous bully I dealt with in elementary school. I guess the disadvantage would have been obvious that he went to the same lower secondary school as me. 2 years had gone by without an issue, but then he decided to strike. I think it was during recess one day in early October. I remember that week well because we had sex education for about 3 days straight. This bully, let's call him Ulrich, went to the same class as me throughout elementary school for 7 years. He only started being a bully around second grade, specifically to me. Everyone knew he was trouble, but it was never serious except for a few instances. For the record, he didn't go to the same class as me in lower secondary. I was in D and he was in C. I was just entering the toilet area when he commented that he was scared of me. I ignored him, but he pressed on and asked if I was gay. I responded saying only in his fantasy. I should add that he was with 3 other guys from my class. Let's call them Ollie, my ex-best friend, my former boy crush, Ellis, and his mate, Mike. Mike told him to stop, which I felt he did to defend me, which I appreciated. They were waiting for Ellis, who had just been to the toilet. The thing that annoyed me is that they knew the truth about me, but didn't take the opportunity to defend me. It was over by then, and I felt a bit scared to leave the stall even after I had entered it. You may think this was a one-time occurrence, but it really wasn't. Yes, it was the first serious incident during lower secondary, but with our past history, I wasn't going to let it slide. For 7 years, he had always found ways to cause me discomfort and talk about sexual stuff against my wishes. He always asked in an antagonistic way if I was gay, not just between ourselves, but also in class. Thankfully, the class never paid much attention to him. I told my parents that same day. I don't remember their reaction, but what I do know is they notified the school immediately. My lower secondary school was strict on anti-bullying, and the headmistress always enforced this. She was a kind and respectful person who always had the students' best interests at heart. Bullying would never be tolerated on her watch. I also talked to one of my teachers in private the following day. I confided in her about my sexuality and the uncomfortable feeling of homophobic attitudes, not just from Ulrich, but also the slurs thrown by another classmate, Matt. I was surprised how seriously the headmistress, the school counselor, and my teachers handled the case. Maybe it was the fact that Ulrich had been a repeat offender that sealed his fate. The headmistress promised me the school would talk to him and make him understand the severity of the situation. If he ever said anything of the sort again, he would be expelled. The headmistress was true to her word. I never heard any snide remarks from Ulrich again. He did throw some comment in late March or April the following year, but I never heard the entire thing, and it didn't matter. There were only 2 months left of the term. Thankfully, I haven't seen him since I started upper secondary, and I hope I never will see him again. I would also like to add one thing about my parents. I haven't yet come out to them. I was discreet when I told them about Ulrich's bullying. I'm sure I will eventually come to terms and tell them one day. My father has expressed support and acceptance of the LGBT community, while my mother has been more conservative. However, a few months back, she did express support when I mentioned a news article from 2017. Our agriculture minister was criticizing a pastor from his hometown for saying that LGBT people should carry out their life and activities in secret. Maybe she's had a change of heart. I'm not sure, but I would seriously hope she has. I would hope so too. I can't imagine what it must be like carrying a secret like that. I hope you're able to come out to them someday and they're as loving and supportive as they ought to be. And it's so refreshing hearing about a school that supports their students when it comes to bullying. Well done to that headmistress. Whatever she said obviously did the trick. To hell with Ulrich. You say he was in C class? I've got an idea what the C can stand for. Anyway, we've come to the end of our journey. Thank you for traveling on the Reddit Railway, and we hope to see you again soon.